The advice and opinions expressed by Dr. Granpeesheh and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Good morning and welcome to Ask Dr. Doreen. Look who we have in the studio. We have Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh in the studio. It's so wonderful to have you here.
It's lovely to be back.
I haven't been in the same room with you in a month of Sundays.
Probably a couple of months now, yeah.
But I'm so thrilled to be here with you. It's a big week around here because someone who shall be nameless has a birthday later on this week. And all across card, do you even know how much we celebrate you?
Oh, it's wonderful. This is Spirits Week,
Yes,
right?
and I don't know, today might be Crazy Hair Day at the centers.
Oh, I don't know.
Or Pajama Day, or what, but they do fun things all week long.
I love it.
The week of your birthday just becomes Card Celebration Week.
So nice.
Which is a wonderful way to celebrate you and all the things that you've created.
I should plan for next year to visit a site every day or a few sites on this week.
If I could wish one thing for you,
that
it would be
so
to get
good.
You to the centers because it's
the best thing. I agree.
Oh, to spend 5 minutes with the kiddos, but then to spend 5 minutes with the BTs, they humble me.
Oh.
I want to sob every time I'm around them because they're just the best people on the face of the earth.
So true.
And having fun with the kiddos and the kids. Like today's topic, we're going to be talking about, success stories and when big and small, when you have something happen with your kiddo, there's the little things, but that I think is one of the amazing things about having a kid on the spectrum is that you're constantly, if you're doing it right, you're celebrating all the time.
I just got one last night. Maybe I'll read it.
Okay, I would love that. But you there's like a little thing that you celebrate that my kid said this for the first time, or
It's
I mean,
amazing.
listen, when they say I love you for the first time,
Yeah.
levels us all. But then there are the big things too. So if you are watching, we're live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and we're celebrating Dr. Granpeesheh's birthday by doing, I think, one of your favorite things, which is talking about the success stories.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
So if you have something to brag about with yourself or your kiddo, and like I said, nothing is too small and everything is a big deal. Brag, write in and tell us. I had some people write in some stuff, but write in and tell us so that we can share it on the air. We are live right now. Our fabulous Chris Desmond is showing you some of the different ways that you can interact with the show. I want to remind everybody that while we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, the show will then later be podcast on all the platforms that you can download a free podcast. We know that that's our bigger audience because you guys have busy lives. Oh my goodness, you are busy doing 1,000,008 things, and that's the way a lot of you like to consume the content. Just remember that we have the YouTube channels, which if you ever want to go and see, I have to tell you, Dr. Granpeesheh is wearing some amazing shoes today. So if you ever wonder what we look like, every once in a while, I listen to All Things Considered, and then when I get an opportunity to see what those people look like, I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know.
That's what they look like? Yes, spoiler alert, I'm not skinny and young. But anyway.
Here, let me read this one from last night.
Go for it.
So this is a parent I don't know.
Okay.
It's a parent I don't know. They did not send this to me.
Okay.
They sent it to Greg Anderson, as you know, another parent. And it says, and they actually sent it to about 100 people.
Wow.
It's a lot of people on this email. And then it says, I'd like to share something very special today. My son was chosen as the house leader of Altruismo at his middle school. This is like a class representative in parentheses. He's very high functioning on the autism spectrum, and stepping into a leadership role like this is a huge breakthrough for him. We're incredibly proud of his hard work, courage, and the confidence he's building. A great reminder that growth looks different for everyone, and every step forward is worth celebrating. Mm-hmm. And then this mom sent this to literally 100 people or more. And then Greg Anderson, our friend, who was one of the people who received this, said, truly wonderful. And the mom responded to him and said, "Thank you, Greg. Many hours of hard work worth card.
Oh.
Could not have done it without their support and great ABA therapists." And then Greg wrote back and said, "They are, bar none, the best in this space. And from my personal experience, I can say that too." So it was, it was a very nice, excuse me, message that I saw, and it was very touching. Yeah.
I'm wiping away the tears,
Yeah.
because you just can't. You can't, like, I wish we could bottle that kind of thing, the big and the small victories. And
They're the
but
best.
we're going to share some, and we're hoping that you guys will write in and share some. I know we both got very emotional that there was a wonderful person who, you know, we saw the graduation picture
Yes,
last week.
exactly.
And I lost my mind. I just was so over the moon happy
You should have
for
seen
them.
the text that his mom was sending me.
Oh, I'm
It
sure.
was, it was very, very touching.
Yeah.
Those moments when I get something like that, it just, nothing else that's happening at that moment matters. Like, it all just fades away,
Yeah.
you know? Like, this is the only thing that I can concentrate on. It's amazing. It's truly amazing.
Well, and it's hard won. These are not things that just happen on a Tuesday because everybody wasn't paying attention.
Right.
It's parents who went the extra mile. It's the kiddo who
Yes.
showed their spirit. It's the team of people. I said this to somebody the other day that when we first started, I thought that you were going to send one person and they were going to work with my child. And that's because it was called one-to-one.
Right.
And that somebody very quickly said to me, no, in your child's time at CARD, you should expect for them to work with about 100 different people. And that, I was like, what do you mean 100 different people? And I think we probably surpassed that. 100 people. Oh, easily.
Wow, that's a lot.
But, you know, I shared last year when we went to, it's going to get ugly. When we went to, they had, I don't know what the grad days at Gems College, where the parents are invited to come to the bookstore and open your wallet and say goodbye to all the money you've ever had.
Right.
Because you're going to rent the gown, you're going to buy the frame, you're going to buy the ring, you're going to buy
Everything.
the sash that's hand embroidered
100%,
by,
yes,
you know, people on another planet and all of that stuff. So it's, but it's so emotional, right? And it's so fun to be invited to this party.
Yeah.
And there's other parents that are there with their grads, and your kid tries on the cap and gown, and they take pictures.
Oh.
But then we had to go in and order, the announcements and all of that stuff.
Oh,
and
right.
I don't know what it was so crowded, and sensory wise, I couldn't handle it.
Right.
But Jem and I were standing there together ordering, and then I had put in what I needed for me, and I said, you decide what else. And I walked out the row because I was feeling claustrophobic. And I turned around and I just looked at all of these people, and I fell apart. I mean, like the ugly cry, like I was making animal noises in the middle of this bookstore, because I realized that nobody realized that it was a miracle that we were there.
Right.
And I was thinking literally about the hundreds of people that it took. It took you and it took hundreds of other people for us to be there.
Unbelievable.
And I thought, they're just doing their job somewhere today, and they don't know that we are standing on their shoulders.
That's incredible.
And I literally, I was making such terrible noises that people started turning around going,
Are you
what's
okay?
her problem?
Aw.
And I thought, oh, you people, you have no idea
Yeah.
that this was not promised to us.
Yeah.
And that this took an army of people for us to be here. So of course,
Amazing.
right? But that's why it's so good, tell your stories, you guys. Tell us, because I think it recharges your batteries, you personally.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so write in your stories. But I started to say, we have the YouTube channels. If you want to go back and watch, we've been doing this show over 15 years now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Just crazy. But if you want to go back and watch in history, or just search a topic and see when Dr. Granpeesheh has answered questions from people around the world, go to Ask Dr. Doreen on YouTube. We also have the Autism Live on YouTube. If your question isn't there, or it's not the answer that you needed, of course, we're here and we want you to write in. Okay, and I'm monitoring because I put it on Facebook too. Okay, so I want to say, because it's April,
Yes.
and it's the A month.
Yes.
Everybody always says to me, what A month are you doing? And I go, I don't know. I don't care. It's everything to everybody.
Right.
It's acceptance.
Oh,
it's an
absolutely,
awareness.
yeah.
It's accomplices and allies. It's action. What's your A word?
Right.
Is really what I want to know from different people. And for me, it's all of them.
Yeah, 100%.
That, because any one of them doesn't,
It's just important, I think, to have a month where people are focused on autism
yeah.
in one way or another. And I think it's so meaningful because, it affects everybody's lives now in one way or another. And it's important for those who don't know enough about it to learn, those who are not even aware of certain facts to become aware of those who are autistic to feel supported. It's just a very important thing.
And I find that, depending on where you are in your journey, sometimes April is something to really look forward to because there's a lot of events to take your kids to. There's walks, there's festivals, there's all kinds of things. Then other times for some families, they report that it's a little bit unnerving because every day is Autism Day.
Yes, of course.
And that it can be a little frustrating. My philosophy is always take what's good, leave everything else.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like the A month isn't really for the families that are dealing with it. I think in a lot of ways it's for everyone else.
Yes, of course.
To
Absolutely.
see what you're dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. So, even as someone who I entered this world of autism, it wasn't part of my family, right? But I entered at a very young age and spent by far the vast majority of my life in the world of autism, right? So even I look and think it's so fascinating that people don't know anything about this, still to this day, even though we're 1 in 31 people are affected. But it's like the questions that people ask me, I come to realize, we are so in this world that we don't realize a lot of people out there still don't have the knowledge, awareness, how to deal with it, what does it mean, how do I interact with someone who's on the spectrum? There's so much that others can still learn. So I look at this month as an opportunity for all of us, parents and professionals who are in this world, to educate everyone else.
Yeah, and for me, that's really what it has become now too.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. During this month, you watch the news, and there's always some story about autism, and I appreciate that.
Right.
I'm like, okay, all right. So anyway, we're talking about win stories today. If you've got a win story, small or large, it could be something that happened this week, something that happened a year ago, but something that was a win for you. If you're proud of it, if it's you, that's something that you were able to do or something that your kiddo was able to do, write in and tell us. Like I said, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But we had some that came in. Somebody said, "Happy birthday, Dr. Granpeesheh. I want to let you know that we've had so many amazing moments. I'm so emotional today since we started service with card. But last week, for the first time, my mom, I think, my mom got to hear 'I love you, Grandma.'"
Oh, wow.
Whew, it destroyed us all, strangely, even more than "I love you, Mom." Thank you for giving us hope. Thank you for giving us these moments we didn't know we would ever have. And I think that hope piece, I think that's a huge part of it. Even in our community, that's sort of the flag that I carry around all the time, that I'm like, hope is my favorite 4-letter word.
Yeah.
Because even yesterday, I was talking to a mom whose kiddo is starting today. And she was talking to me about, what the things were that she was concerned about. And I kept reminding her that in 6 months, that's going to look different.
Yeah.
And she doesn't own that yet.
Yeah.
But I know that for her, that's going to get better. There are a lot of people who don't know it's okay to have hope, that there's reason to have hope, that things can get better, not because I want to make sure that we say nobody's changing anybody, but because if you learn something and you know how to do something, your life gets better.
Definitely. I mean, Recently, Shannon, I had to develop a new, assessment because payers, so this world, our world of providing behavioral services to help anyone learn more is now, our world is kind of being, I don't want to use the word constrained, but really it is. It's being, their guardrails are being put around us in terms of these are the things you're allowed to do if we're going to pay for it.
Right.
And these are things you're not allowed to do, right? And that's coming from our payers, which are insurance companies. And similar to a doctor or medical field where they say, this is a necessary surgery or it's not, right?
Right.
It's a, what do they call it when it's not necessary? Like a
Elective.
Yeah. Elective or necessary surgery. And we're only going to pay for the ones that are necessary. If it's elective, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And the same thing has kind of happened to our field now, right? So I had to make an assessment that really objectively allows our supervisors to determine within those constraints what's the best service we can provide to each individual, given that everyone's different.
Yeah.
And so I studied a lot of our contracts and what the payers are requiring and so on. And it all comes down to three things that are still very important to everyone.
Okay.
One is functional communication. So
Yeah,
enough
amen.
communication to allow the individual to, function.
Yeah.
That's why it's called functional communication.
Yeah.
The second one is safety,
Okay.
which is, I know, one that you always talk about a lot because there's so many issues around safety, elopement, anything that is unsafe, even like getting into, hitting others, the swimming pool issues that you and I have talked about,
Yeah.
like anything that has to do with safety is a big issue. And then the third one is independence, which I love because there's so much tied into that, right? And helping someone get to a level where they are independent, I think is so meaningful. And we don't have to use words that we used decades ago that make people sensitive, like recovered and so on. Yeah. But really, if you focus on those three things, right? I want to help someone be functionally able to communicate what they need, what's they're experiencing and so on. And if I'm sure that I can help them be safe, and if I can do everything I can to teach them skills that will help them be independent, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
Right?
What a great way of looking at that. Mm-hmm. Because as you said, everybody can agree on those three things.
Everybody agrees.
We don't have to agree on everything else, but you can agree on those three things.
Right.
Of course, there is a part of me, because one of the biggest lessons that I learned in ABA, or just in life, being a parent, to understand the problems that I was having was that I had this huge value, what I wanted my son to be independent.
Right.
But I had this huge value that I wanted him to be safe. And sometimes those things butt heads and come against each other. But the truth is that you can't truly be safe unless you have a little bit of independence, because who can keep 100% of eyes on somebody 100% of the time? It's impossible.
Right.
So you have to, kind of rub those two things together and figure it out as you go.
Right.
But that piece of the functional communication too
is so important.
Critical.
I mean, there's a lot more, right? Like ideally, I wish, and when I listen to you and you tell me about like the joy that you see when you visit the sites and the therapists and so on, I wish so much that for us it's kind of a balancing, like which one do you prefer? So before there was insurance, health insurance, we had a lot more freedom in terms of the things we could teach and the way that we tracked improvement, right? So it was a lot easier. And so therefore it was a lot more, I guess, fun, I think, for the VTs as well as the kids. Like it was just a lot more, there were fewer regulations governing, At the same time, I wouldn't, do I want that? Yes, I want that, but I want funding for all of my families, right? Without this funding, so many parents and kids wouldn't be able to access this care.
Yeah.
And so with that funding comes certain regulations. Another project that I'm working on right now is redoing our data entry system, which is logbook app.
Yeah.
And it is so difficult because our application that we built for iPads, and all of our BTs use these iPads, has become very, very arduous and complicated. And it's like every single thing that you work on teaching someone, you have to put in a ton of data and so on. So I'm trying to simplify this thing as much as possible because I want our BTs to spend less time doing that and more time with the child. But there's so many regulations about the things you have to report on every session.
I don't know how you put up with that because it makes me crazy as a parent. And I always use the expression, it's the tail wagging the dog.
Exactly.
We prayed and worked and gathered and walked and did all these things because in my generation, we didn't have the insurance for my kiddo. And,
That's amazing.
I live in the great state of California, so California paid for it because otherwise my kiddo wouldn't be doing what he's doing.
Right.
Like it just wouldn't have happened. But the great state of California paid.
Was it more regional or regional?
It was regional
centers?
center entirely.
Amazing.
And listen, we had to fight for that and we had to work hard for that. But every year the regional center would send, I think they still do this, they would send us a non-bill and say, here's how much money we spent on your child.
Amazing.
And I remember the first year, because when we heard about ABA, I was like, oh, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I can handle being a parent, knowing there's something out there that would help my
That you
child,
can't do.
but I can't do it because I made the wrong choices in my life and didn't prioritize making money.
Well, who knows that?
But I didn't,
know.
right? But listen, that would have sent me over the bend, and I understand why a lot of parents drink. And do hard drugs because having to live with that. But the regional center was gonna pay. We got the first non-bill after the first year, and it was for $120,000 in the first year of my son's therapy. But it was also the year that my son started talking again. It was the year that my son said, I love you. It was the year that my son asked his first question unprompted. It was the year that he went from being somebody that the school said the appropriate setting for him was in a room full of kids that had helmets on that were beating their heads against a wall and they were letting them, to being offered by the school to be fully included with typical kids in that 1 year.
Right.
And like it's crazy, but to put a price tag on that for $120,000, right?
Absolutely,
But so my generation fought for the next generation that you guys would have insurance funding.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, there are times when I go, oh, we didn't think this through.
Right.
Because with insurance funding comes all the regulation. Of course.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people that their insurance is paying for really bad ABA. Right?
Of course, yeah.
And
sure.
I don't want that either.
Right.
Like there needs to be regulation. But when it becomes a thing, it's the thing that we all argue about with healthcare right now, that if your doctor says you need this, then the insurance company shouldn't tell you no.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
It's the same exact thing. I went through this personally for I had high cholesterol, right?
Yeah.
And there's a medication that's come out called Repatha, and it's an injection. It's an injectable. And my doctor asked for this, and my insurance said no. And then my doctor said, you know what, let's do blood tests and show them. So we did. We sent it. They still said no. Then my doctor said, you know what, let's make sure that it's actually affecting, you have plaque in your heart.
Yeah.
Let's check that, because then they'll never say no to that.
Yeah.
So I had to go to see a cardiologist who injected my heart with dye so that they could take pictures under a CAT scan to prove to my insurance that I do have plaque and I need this medication. And my insurance said no. And so then my doctor had to call them and argue. And guess what happened? The law changed and they approved this medication that same week after I went through all of that. I mean, it is crazy that the system is not fair. I see that happening with a lot of our kids right now. There's especially kids who have aggressive behaviors. It's a very two-sided sword or double-sided sword. It's like, on the one hand, payers will say, yeah, this is really severe behavior and the individual needs help. But on the other hand, they're not willing to give us, let's say, a 2-to-1 or the hours necessary for this individual so that we can actually help.
Yes.
So it's a lot of that. But that said, because I was training our supervisors a couple of weeks ago about this issue, I said, look at it this way. We have constraints, but we can provide a certain amount of content, a certain amount of intensity and duration with this funding. But if there's a parent who has other funding or can't afford anything above and beyond, certainly we can also do that.
Yes.
Right?
But I think if parents know and advocate, I will tell you, just to go along with this story, my healthcare recently changed.
Yes.
Because my husband retired.
Okay.
And so now I'm on cards insurance.
Healthcare.
And I did not know how different it was. There's a medication that I've struggled with my diabetes numbers for the last many years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that there was a medication that would help. And I didn't know it was very expensive. But now it's free on this insurance.
It's crazy.
It's free. And my blood sugar, I'm having to adjust to the fact that my blood sugar is actually
normal,
semi-normal.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And I might start feeling a lot better. But, I did not know that my insurance
was the one,
which was very good insurance,
was rejecting it.
It was
not
saying,
it.
Sorry, we'll charge you a small arm and a leg for that.
Yep.
I don't know where my thing is, but I want to get to another question and then I'm going to have you open this.
Course.
So, and not so much a question. Somebody wrote in and said, we wanted to write in that our daughter was diagnosed when she was 4. Today, she heard from her top pick college that she is accepted and going to do animal studies to become a veterinarian specializing in the care of horses. We are over the moon that she has this chance. Thank you for all that you do.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine if she had not had that opportunity? I think about that all the time.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's incredible.
For my son now, who, years ago, he still holds to this, he says, Mom, I'm a writer. In my soul. That's who I am. I understand that about myself now. Can you imagine if I had missed that?
That's amazing.
This was the kiddo who couldn't hold a pencil.
That's incredible.
That we had a BIP at school because he wouldn't hold a pencil.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
The power of...
I have to tell you something, a little bit off topic, but it reminded me that I recently, last week when I was in Florida, I started to watch some of the seasons that I had missed of Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, yeah, there's a new one out this week
too.
I
just saw that it came out, but I haven't caught up yet, so I will catch up eventually. And of course, as a lot of those folks, wonderful folks, were at our gala last year.
We gave the show an award.
Exactly. And I just enjoyed it so much. That show is just spectacular, honestly.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to see the level with which these folks are comfortable in themselves and who they are, I love that. And they're so different. They are so different, but they're just so comfortable. And I love that so much. And I don't think it's just me because I'm in this field. I was watching it with a bunch of my family. And they were all like, oh my God, I love this. It's just so lovely
and they know most of them now because they hung out and danced with them. And there were 2 awards that you gave out, that Autism Care gave out. One of them was to Love on the Spectrum.
Yes.
And the other one was to Chelsea Darnell, who happens to also be one of the casting directors on the show. And I think that they do a really good job of the casting. And I think that Chelsea's input is invaluable. But the new season is out. I'm only 3 or 4 episodes in.
It's just so good,
so I'm looking forward to hear, everything, how it all comes out.
I didn't realize that they had started, that the characters continue.
Yes.
I thought it's new people every season, but it's not.
Well, they keep some new people and feed in, but what I think is remarkable about it, what I've always thought is remarkable about it, is that it's compelling.
Oh,
so
it's incredible.
even somebody like Brad Pitt found himself at home and went, I'm going to watch Netflix, watched a couple of minutes and went, okay, I can't stop watching that because these people are compelling.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are people.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know them and I don't necessarily understand
Right.
everything that they're excited about,
Right.
but I see that it's passion and that they want to be in love.
Oh, it's amazing.
And that
It's
then
amazing.
that then it's an entree into seeing them as
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing that I get the most excited about.
Absolutely.
Is that I think it's very hard to watch that show and ever be dismissive
Right.
of a person on the spectrum
Oh,
again.
incredible! Yes, that's I think the key thing about that show is that it just kind of it's a reminder that
Yes.
you may not see it, but they have all the same wishes and desires and
Yes.
hopes and so on, and they're just kind of they're not embarrassed about being themselves, and that's
Yes.
kind of what I love.
Nor should they be.
Nor should
But
they be, but
society,
we are.
yeah.
We are.
Oh,
Like
of
that's
course we are.
the reason that I love watching this is that when I've always said this, when someone will say something like, "Oh, so and so did some criminal thing," and then they say, "Oh, they're on the spectrum." I'm like, no, people on the spectrum don't lie. They don't have that.
Yeah.
They just don't have that. I don't
Yeah.
buy it. Like they don't learn those things, right? And this is part of that. They don't have that sense of being embarrassed about who they are. We
Yeah.
all do.
Yes,
We're
we
someone
personally
else
for
in
ourselves.
public. We're
Yes.
not ourselves in public,
Yeah.
but they are,
Yeah.
and it's a very fascinating thing to watch. Like
Yes.
they are who they are.
And it's compelling.
Yeah.
It is very,
Yeah.
very compelling. Okay, so it's your birthday, and here's the thing. Imagine, everybody, perspective taking, how do you get this woman a present? Like, it's impossible.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's absolutely impossible. And over the years, I've tried to do like really stupid things.
You do
and,
wonderful
and
things.
and I,
Thank
and
you.
I've written you. I wrote you a children's book one year.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
like I do stupid stuff. I try to like
You have the best. I still have that. It was a frame with lots of pictures on it. Do you remember?
Oh, the one with the little clothespins.
Yeah, I
Yes.
still have
It
that
was
right
like-
next to my door. Yeah, I see that every day.
It was just like 1 year. They were all pictures that because your daughter takes amazing pictures.
Yeah, now they both do. Both
Oh,
of
really?
us, yeah.
Well, and so it was sort of the year because you guys had gone to England and
Oh, yeah,
and,
something.
something like that. Anyway, so but it just gets harder and harder.
Thank you, Shannon.
But you're so into AI.
I am.
So I noticed because Chris got you the best Christmas gift
Oh
this
my
year.
gosh.
And he is so much more clever
That was
and uses
insane.
AI. And I'm trying to be better about using AI in your name for good. AI for good, you guys.
Definitely.
So I sat last week and I said, okay, AI, what? And I put in the prompt because I've learned that the more specific you are in the prompt.
Oh, that's
and
so
so I
great.
asked, I said, what do you get the woman who has everything?
That's so funny.
Everything but time, and who I wish would rest more.
Thank you.
And I said, and her life is devoted to helping people on the spectrum. So AI gave me this whole like 3-step thing to choose from. But and then I could perfect the prompt and put all these other things. And no matter what I put in, there was one thing that they said I had to get you.
Okay.
So
Should I
that's
open this?
yes, you should open. And I'd never
That's
heard of
amazing.
it before.
Okay. Wow. Well,
Um,
first of all, thank you. This is beautiful and very unnecessary, but also very thankful. Thank you
Well,
so much. Very
It's
thoughtful
not that big of a
you.
deal. But it also, and I didn't bring the thing that I wrote that I'll get to you somehow, but I'm not here the rest of the week. I'm going to Centers.
Oh no! Oh my
I
gosh!
know, I
I'm
wish
so-
you could come with me.
Where are you going?
I am up the coast of California. Yes, I was hoping to
wow.
take my husband with me, but he can't. So it's me by myself going to the Centers.
Really?
So, yeah,
You're
yeah.
driving alone all the way
Uh-huh,
up?
uh-huh.
How far up are you going?
Salinas. I end at Salinas.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, oh my god.
Okay, so that is a side thing because I know that you like dark chocolate.
I
and
do, and I love this.
And I don't know. Oh, do you? 'Cause
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
Lindt
know.
is like
I know
the
nothing
best
about chocolate.
dark chocolate in the world. This is
Okay.
like the best. I've actually been to their factory
Really?
in Switzerland. This is like the best. Thank you. Oh my god, like I need this. I've lost about 10 pounds just
You
not
look
even
fabulous.
trying.
Yeah, you look fabulous. But I
There
know
we
you said
go.
you like to have a little bit of dark chocolate. So I don't know. So they have 3 flavors.
Here we
Is it
go.
in there?
Yes,
At
I'm just
least
trying to
to get up
bring
and
it
walk.
out without. Oh wow!
And no matter what prompt I put in,
That's strangely going to be something wonderful for me.
I'm so glad.
That's
AI was
amazing.
convinced that you had it. It's called a Nod Pod, you guys.
That's so cool.
And it's a weighted eye blanket.
I can't believe that's so amazing that you got this. I recently have noticed that darkness plays a huge role in my ability to be able to actually sleep.
Yeah.
And not just that, but oh my God, this is good for so many reasons.
Good.
So, my husband is one who just walks through the house and leaves everything on. I don't know if you know this, like literally every TV, every light, everything. So
Yeah.
every night I have to go through the house turning everything off. And then I come in bed and I'm like, there's a hallway light on, which I can still see through the door.
Right.
So I have to go turn that off. And
Yeah.
I so wished for something like this.
Okay.
But also, Shannon, I've started to do red light therapy.
Yeah.
And, they give you these little glass things,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I never feel like it's dark enough with those. So
Okay.
this is something I could
that on
actually
top
put on top.
Well, there you go. Everybody
Thank
swore by this,
you.
and AI was convinced that you needed to have that.
That's
so
wonderful.
That's the
Thank you
rationale
so much.
behind
What an
that.
amazing
And I'd never
gift.
heard of it before. Had you guys ever heard of it
I
before?
didn't know that exists. Thank you so much.
Jenny has sent a message. I assume that's Jenny. Jenny. It says Center for Autism.
Thank you.
Yay! And remember, you guys, we're asking you to write in your win stories, big or small. Somebody said it's been a long road filled with twists and curves. It has been filled with milestones met. Picking just one is hard. I will say that this year he has really solidified having a best friend.
Oh, that's amazing.
Ooh, it's so fun to watch them both be so excited to share things with each other. We are very grateful.
That's amazing.
The friend thing
Yeah, the friend
is
thing.
amazing.
I'm just, going down kind of memory lane, I guess, and
Yeah.
thinking all the way back to the very first child who I worked with,
Yeah.
who in those days it was really classified as recovered, right? So he had lost his diagnosis basically and he was doing very, very well. And I was really young and I had started working with him at UCLA. He was they were a family at UCLA when I was a grad student. And I met them and I was running their clinics. So my job in the last year of being a graduate student was that I was supervising that clinic, right?
Yeah.
So at nights, because we all had classes, so everything was happening after, I want to say, 5 p.m. I'm not even sure now, but we had clinics and we had 3 little clinic rooms at UCLA.
Wow.
And so in the evening, starting at 5 and going probably until about 8 or 9 p.m., I would say, would be all the kids and their families would come, and all of our students who were the staff would come, and we would run clinics.
Yeah.
And I was the supervisor for the last 2 or 3 years there. And so I would go around and spend half an hour with each group while they were working there. And one family who was there, and then I graduated, got my doctorate, left, and I opened card. And then a few of the families came with me.
Yeah.
They decided to get services directly from me. This was one of them. And Adam is his name. And he would be now, I want to say, he was so crazy.
It's gotta be
He
late
was
30s.
4 years old or maybe 5 years old in 1990. Okay, so what would that be? So that's 26 plus 10. So it's 36 plus 5 is 41 years old.
Yeah.
That would be. That's not my oldest child. That's my oldest child who lost his diagnosis or recovered. And of course, he got married, and he, for a long time, worked for the CIA, actually, because he had an incredible ability to pattern analyze.
Wow.
Very, very, very smart. He wrote, before he was 25, he wrote something like 40 published articles about anti-terrorism and stuff like that. It was an amazing guy. So that's, going just back through my mind and thinking about all the different kids over the years. And I always wonder, how are they doing? Where are their families? There are so many kids like that. I'm glad that I still have contact with some of them.
Yes.
Right. You know.
And from time to time, it's like this thing that it just kind of drops in every once in a while. Somebody writes a note to
Exactly,
you
exactly.
or to somebody else or to me and says, hey, this is what's happening right now.
Yes.
And it's just so fascinating.
Yeah, it's lovely. Like the one Billy who reached out to me and
Yes.
said, I should actually check in with him because it was last year and he was talking about graduating this year. Remember?
Yes.
He was
Yeah,
like,
we were talking about you going to speak at
because
the
it's
graduation.
in Florida. It's in
Yeah.
Florida. His university's like 4 hours
Yeah.
from where I live.
Yeah.
I need to reach out to him. That would be such a cool thing.
Yes, it would be a very
Yeah,
cool thing.
yeah.
I mean, it's just so fascinating. I just think the passage of time, while it's a real kick in the pants
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways, but the fact that I realized recently that I have been in this community for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And
How old is Jem now?
he's about to turn 23.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
so I've been in this for 20 years this year, and it's crazy all the things that I've seen in 20 years and how different things are. And I remember the first time, because there's
Amazing.
a movie that you guys made before Jem was even getting services at Card, that's called Recovered Journeys.
Through the autism spectrum and back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it follows 4 little kids,
Right.
and there's footage of them when they're little,
Yep.
but the video catches up when they're teenagers.
Right.
The thing that's, I think, fun for both of us is those people are all in their 30s now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're leading amazing lives.
Right,
All
right.
4 of them.
Yes.
And it's wild to have, I only got to see them from the time, I
Yeah.
saw Recovered, and then I got to meet them a few
honestly,
years
they really are. I just thought about all 4 of them. It's pretty crazy.
They're in their 30s.
And you know that I didn't choose those 4, right? Do you know the history of how
I didn't
that
know
happened?
how those 4 kids came to be.
So this is how it happened, that I would say this would be like mid 90s or early 90s. I started to realize that there was a huge need out there and there wasn't any way I could keep up with it.
Yeah.
So this was like maybe I'd say mid 90s, and I had already opened New York. So I was in LA, I'd already opened New York and San Jose, and then, this dad in San Jose wrote that thing on what was it? Yeah, before
the book that
no, not a book. It was what did we have before AOL? It had just started. I forget the name of it. It was it started with a P. It was like AOL, but it was just the beginning of the internet, right? So
Okay.
early 90s. And this dad went on there, and on there was a group called the Me List.
Okay.
And these were all kids who were receiving Lova's type therapy because he had a book called the Me Book.
Okay.
And so this dad was one of these, and he went on there, and because he had talked to me and he had contacted me and said, can you help me? And I started sending, he was in San Jose, so I started sending someone up to help him as a therapist, and we trained people in San Jose. This was before the workshop model even existed, right? And so we trained, and he said, can you open a site here? Yeah. And I said, yes, but I need to have 25 families to make it feasible financially. And he wrote on this platform, I need 25 families, and Card will open a site if there are 25 families in your area. And it was years after that where I did nothing, but there were people reaching out to me from everywhere. Okay. From then after him was North Carolina, then it was England, then it was Australia. It was everywhere. And I literally started opening sites everywhere just because of this one thing that this dad wrote.
But I have to say that's still true.
Yeah.
The people say, what would it take to get Card where I live? And if you have 25 families, that's what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder now because of all the regulations around this field, but we still do that. And we actually are opening with I think 10 families, not even 25. So it's a lot easier now to do that. But the thing is that when, those things were happening in those days, I started to produce a bunch of training videos because there was such a need. So I brought in as many kids as the parents would allow us to video record for training VHS tapes.
Got it.
So these were kids, there were 10 kids or so that
Yeah.
we started recording
Uh-huh.
and doing lessons. And the whole idea was we're just going to make training tapes for parents out
Yeah.
there who are in all these areas that need help. And so it was like all the different lessons, right? So it was like, teaching language and prepositions and this and that or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then time went by because I'm super busy opening sites and I dropped that project or it got old. Meanwhile, I have boxes and boxes of video in my office and I'm like, I can't just let 100 hours of video. I have to do something with this.
Yeah.
Let's find these families. So we started searching for all these families and those were the 4 I could find.
Wow.
So it had absolutely nothing to do with, I thought these 4 will make it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
it was a very
amazing.
different,
That's amazing.
it is amazing. And those 4 came to the forefront and we were like, oh, we still have them. We have contact.
Right.
Let's do follow-ups with these 4.
And it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
One of them
what
is I think she's a teacher now.
She's a special education kindergartner. Kindergarten teacher whose principal thinks that she seriously is the best thing ever.
She is the best thing ever.
I
She's
agree.
delightful.
And she is so devoted to her mission to support those kids.
Absolutely.
Which is just
Absolutely.
breathtaking.
That's right. One of them, of course, as we know, is married, very happily married. Has
homeowner.
Bought himself a home, which I'm so proud
Yes.
of him. One of them actually works at Card right now.
Yes.
Came back to us and is incredible at his job in our contracts department.
Yes.
And lives alone.
Do you know that I just met him recently for the first time?
No.
No, I'd seen him, and we used to show on the show every Friday when we were doing 5 days a week, 4 hours. I don't even know how we did that.
Right.
But on Friday, in the last half hour, we would play this video of this young man when he was 19 years old. It was the 20th anniversary of Card.
Okay.
You had
Yes.
this big gala,
Oh my God, the speech
and
he gave.
And so I would play that on Fridays to end the week, and I would go because we all need to see this. And we were talking about this
Wonderwall.
last night because somebody sang Wonderwall on American Idol last night, and I got so emotional. And Jim was like, my husband was like, it's really not that good. It's not the greatest version. And I said, I know, but whenever I hear that song, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
And so when I met him 2 months ago, for the first time, he was here and touring as he was starting his job. And I said, we've not actually met before, but you have been such a huge inspiration to me. And he said, really? Why?
Yeah.
And I said, and I told him that I would play this video of him as a 19-year-old. And I was there for it.
Oh, it was incredible.
It was a huge, huge venue in Los Angeles.
Yes.
My knees would have been shaken to get up and speak. And he gave this speech that was to all of the people, to you and all the people who had worked with him, and said they had taught him this song Wonderwall, and so he reads the words to it. And says, because I don't know what you sacrificed to be there for me.
That's amazing.
But the whole thing about, there are many things I'd like to say to you, but I don't know how.
Yes.
Whew. Because maybe you're going to be the one to save me.
Right. I have goosebumps right now.
I just
about that.
And so he dedicated that to everybody who had worked with him. But so here it is, how many years later, 18 years later, and I was meeting him in a professional capacity,
amazing.
but I said this to him, and both of us stood right, 10 feet from here, and we both started to cry.
Oh.
And everybody else on the tour was like, what just happened?
Oh.
What just happened?
He's the best.
And he
He's
said, I
such an
didn't
awesome
realize
guy.
that, I was like, no, every Friday I would play this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And he's so sweet.
He's the sweetest. He's such a lovely human being. I'm so happy that he came back to us. And then the last person I don't want to forget is, of course, a doctor of robotics.
Yes.
Who is not only traveling the world and teaching everyone about robotics, but also is designing incredible robots that are just, cleaning the oceans and going to Mars, and the things that he's doing are just incredible.
Just incredible.
So I'm glad you brought up the video because I hadn't thought about
It's
how
available.
amazing those 4 people are.
The original video is available on the Autism Live YouTube channel.
Oh, yes,
For
yes,
free. You
yes,
can go
yes.
and put in recovered, put in Autism Live recovered. You'll see a bunch of different videos because we did videos with a couple of the people later on. One
As
in
well.
particular, the one who's
Correct.
married.
But I mean, there's also, if you go on the second, that used to be a 2-video, 2-disc set.
Yes.
And there's some other individuals on there on the second disc that are also incredible, who I don't
We
want
should
to
get
forget.
that. We should get that on YouTube.
Yeah, we should ask Andy to come back and tell us how he's doing too.
We absolutely should do
he
that.
he was a biostatistician at UCLA, and we tried to hire him, and he got a better job.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Well,
He wrote to my partner sang him, and he was like, "I'd love to, but I just have a better offer." And I was like, "I love that."
and I have to tell you, I want to do another panel.
Yeah.
Years ago, Bonnie Yates did a panel in Los Angeles
Which is
where
amazing.
it was, and in that case, it was 10 parents who sat up on a big stage. It was standing room only. We couldn't get anywhere close. And I remember Jem was so little, he was in a little umbrella.
Yeah.
Those little things that have the umbrella things on them.
Unbelievable.
And my husband and I had to stand to see this, but it was 10 parents talking about their kids that had, and the word was recovery.
Yes.
And I don't want to mince words with that. And we were so inspired by that. But I have to tell you that meeting the actual individuals is an entirely different thing.
Yeah.
And I want to do a panel with a group of, they're in their 30s. I don't know why we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I know, when I came to work at CARD, I was in a little suite where there were 3 desks, and the guy who sat next to me, who was a graphic artist, was one of
Joe.
your kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I probably had sat next to him for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And then somebody said, "Do you know Joe's story?" And so Joe told me his story, and I was like, "Shut up. Shut the front door. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You were one of Doreen's kids. Tell me everything."
Yeah.
And I was just fascinated. But then I got used to it.
Yeah.
I worked with Joe, and Joe was amazing.
Joe
and then,
was incredible.
And then that summer,
I
you
often
had
wonder how
Andy
he
came,
is. Yeah.
and there were a bunch of interns that came that were former clients, and I would go to lunch with them sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
They were the nicest. Other guys from the IT department, I would go to get on the elevator, and they would wing by me and not acknowledge
No.
me. But those 3 guys would hold the door and say, "Ladies first."
The best
And
guys.
I was like,
The
okay.
best guys.
And they would go, "Where are you going for lunch? Would you like to join us?"
Yeah.
The kindest, sweetest, nicest young men.
Yeah.
And then we were at a retreat, and they all got
That
up.
was one of
I wish
the
we
best.
could find that video.
Yes, that was
Oh,
one.
my
I
gosh.
think we have it. So I actually found it, but I'm trying to remember where it is now. But that was amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
they're like,
yeah.
they
That was
tore
amazing.
tore it up. The 3 of them talking about life in general and everything. But then it got to be Halloween, and Halloween is always a big deal at CARD.
Yeah.
And the research department that year, they reenacted Thriller.
Oh,
That's how
yeah.
big of a deal.
Oh yeah.
And the kids were all invited. So my husband met me and brought Jem
Yeah.
to trick or treat.
Right.
At
Kids
the-
would come trick or treating.
And so, and I told him stories about Joe.
yeah.
right?
Oh right.
I told him so many stories about Joe, but there were a group of people standing around talking, and they were talking about movies. And my husband, likes to talk about movies. So he went over, and it was Merrick and Joe
yeah, the whole gang.
and somebody else that were all standing there talking about movies. And then afterwards, we walked someplace else to get some punch. And I said to my husband, "What was that like? What was that like for you?" And he goes, "What?" And I said, "You were talking to Joe." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Joe, the one that I talk about that used to be one of Doreen's clients, and he's an adult now, and you were standing there. What was that like for you?" And he goes, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah, he didn't
And
know.
I said, "No, the guy that I talk about all the time that's so inspirational." He goes, "Yeah, is he here? Can I meet him?" I said, "You just were talking to him for half an hour."
Yeah.
And I remember he put down whatever he was eating, and he was like, "Where was I? Who was I? I was talking with which one? Which
Yeah.
one?" And I said, and I pointed him out. And my husband literally got dizzy, and he said,
Yeah.
"I need to sit down."
Yeah, I
He
couldn't
said,
believe it.
"That young, is that what's possible?
Yeah.
Is that really
Yeah.
Could that be Jem someday?
Right.
And I said, everybody's different, honey, but that's, we're working.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he had that moment. Well, we had that moment last summer that I took Jem with me
Oh, yeah.
to a couple of centers.
Oh, yeah. I
And there
remember
was
that.
we were in the O'Hare office, and 2 dads came in to drop their kids off. They were in a hurry. They had to get to work. And I said, well, before you go, I want to introduce myself.
Yeah.
And I said, my son was a kiddo, and he just graduated from college. And the one dad said, oh, gosh,
Yeah.
I would really love to meet him. And I said, oh, and my son was standing right there. And I said, this is my son. And the dad literally thumped his chest and backed up and was like, I can't breathe. Are you telling me that this young man that I just met and shook hands with, that he used to be a card client? And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said to me what a lot of people say, oh, but he was already like doing really well. And I said, he came in moderate to severe.
Yeah.
That's what he was considered. And the dad was like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I understand. Like my husband was the
I've
same
been through
way.
it. Yeah.
But, here it is. So I love talking about hope. I want to say that Judy Utal had written in, Autism and
nice,
Entertainment had written in and said happy birthday.
Thank you.
Jennifer has said happy birthday.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Stephen says, I felt so lost when my son was diagnosed at 2 years. This show has been such a blessing and motivation. My son is 9 now and in mainstream school, doing great. Thank you both so much.
Oh, that's wonderful
Isn't that
to
amazing?
hear. Thank you.
Lovely, love to hear. I have to get you out in about 2 minutes. But
Yeah.
It looked like there was something you wanted
I was
to
just
add.
going to say, just talking about Joe, and I hope he's well. I haven't been in touch with him for a little while. He and I did a presentation together at the Autism One conference one year, and I stood up and I was talking about kids and how positive outcome and ABA and how effective it is and so on. And I had a video of Joe when he was about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it was home footage of Joe running around, very self-stimulatory, nonverbal, doing the ee kind of sounds and like really very affected by autism. And then I stopped after the video and I said, I need to catch a plane now, and I'm going to let this gentleman here was sitting on the stage continue my talk. And this is Joe.
Yeah.
And Joe got up and started to speak, and the entire room gave him a standing ovation because they just could not believe. And it's just wonderful to see that. It truly is a great thing to remember how, and so many of our kids, like we have to say, they are so hardworking.
Oh,
they put so much effort. It's
absolutely.
like we talk about, people who've become incredible musicians because they practice years and years. That's what our kids do. Our kids work so hard for so many years. And they master all this information that they just, we don't know how much hard work it is unless you see it. And our kids are just fantastic in that way. Yeah.
One of the things that I embraced fairly early on, because, when your kid's been diagnosed and you're like trying to catch your breath and you're trying to be like, okay, I want to be mentally okay with this because I got to show up for them.
Yeah.
But it's in the beginning, it's hard.
It's very, very hard.
Like you don't know what you're looking at. I certainly didn't know if I was up to it. But one of the things that I saw early on that I was like, oh, I'm going to hang on to this with everything that I can, was that when other kids just learn how to talk, people walk by it. Like it's no big deal.
It's true.
They just miss it. And the one thing that I said, okay, the thing about this is it's going to require me to pay attention and notice every time he learns something and celebrate it. And we called him Jem, Jem, and we called it Just Everyday Miracles.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's just what we're doing every day. We're doing Just Everyday Miracles with Jem. And, today he learned how to say apple, and it's a miracle. And I didn't get to take it for granted.
Yeah.
Whereas people do all the time.
Right.
We have a colleague that we used to work with, and I was at a conference with him, and everybody was making an exodus to go to a restaurant. And I'll say this person was kind of Captain Oblivious. I'm not going to say who it was, but Captain Oblivious on a regular basis. And we were walking down the street in San Francisco, and there was a family walking kind of parallel to us with a little kid. And the little kid was saying, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom. And the parents were completely ignoring the little kid. And of course, in me, it was raising a level of anxiety. And finally, the dad, like the kid kind of like punched the dad in the leg and was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And the dad was like, shut up and walk kind of thing. Because they were going someplace. And I was having a hard time. And I just, there was a pause. We were having a conversation. I wasn't tracking the conversation. And I paused and I said, people just don't realize how amazing it is when their kids talk.
That's so true. That's so true.
And this, this
we
colleague,
take it
Captain
for granted.
Oblivious,
Yeah.
kind of stopped and almost got run over by the herd of people.
Yeah.
And was like,
True.
he said, I never think about that.
Yeah.
I never think about what a big deal
It is.
And I said, I don't get to take it for granted.
It's so true.
The fact that
So
kid
true.
was, think about all the skills that little kid had to have.
Just to be able to say that.
To try to get their parents' attention to say,
Yeah.
I'm having this thing going on in my body and I need to
go.
alert you.
So I don't have an accident.
So I don't have an accident and I'm
Right.
a person and I'm trying to get your attention.
Right.
This miracle that
Absolutely.
this parent found annoying.
Absolutely.
But I couldn't help myself. I spoke it out loud and this person just stopped
Yeah.
and said, I don't ever think about that.
That's so true.
I was like, well, because you're Captain Oblivious. Because that's why I got to get you out. You got a meeting.
I have to go.
Everybody has said happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank
adore
you,
you.
Shannon, and thank you so much for this.
Well, I hope it
Appreciate
helps.
Yes.
But anyway, tomorrow we have the IEP, the Epic IEP lady on the show.
Great.
I'm afraid of her, but we're gonna have her on.
That's awesome.
She wrote the book Epic IEP. Anyway, we'll do that tomorrow. But I gotta get you out. Thank you so much.
Thank
we love
you.
you.
Thank
Give
you.
your kiddos a hug for me and one for you. Join us tomorrow. Bye bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We hope to see you there.